Spend my life for you, I die fast. Spend my life for you. From the end of the picture, my life, the view. You keep me calm, excite me too. You find your ways, I style the new.
WEFM, the clean, fresh sound.
WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All right, that's Vincent. 15 minutes on to 8 o'clock. We got Lyf with his commentary this morning. Morning to you, Lyf. What's up?
Good morning. How are you, Maka? How are you, Roleza?
I'm good.
I'm fine.
Good morning to SVG, listeners of WEFM this morning. So yesterday we saw another apparently serious accident, minivan again. And when I read what the police report said, it said 7 critically injured people. I hope everybody recovers from that accident. There's a lot of people to be critically injured. We just saw last week there was one where 2 persons died. There were like 6 or 7 persons injured in that and taken to hospital. 2 died. Now we're seeing this one again. Same mechanical failure. They're blaming again. Everything seems to be mechanical failure these days. Another minivan accident.
Easiest thing to say.
Yeah, the easiest thing to say. Yeah. I can remember one time I was parked on the side of the road by where they have the basketball court in Montrose right here. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
I was parked way off on this side on the court, and I was speaking to someone, and the sales truck came down and hit me. That hit directly onto the back of me, right? And I don't know. I didn't know how come the person that was standing next to the vehicle talking to me wasn't killed. And the sales truck hit the back of my SUV so hard that the music deck flew out of the dashboard. Right? And I can remember looking back. I saw 3 vehicles behind me on the roadway. And I was wondering how the truck didn't hit them. So what happened is that the truck came down and the guy basically missed the 3 vehicles that were on the roadway because he went onto the sidewalk and came down and hit me parked. And he said that it was mechanical failure. But when he went to the hospital, one of the nurses pinched somebody and said, like, he smelled alcohol, he was drunk. Right? So I don't know, it's always some kind of mechanical failure or something. But as I said, I hope these people recover and nobody actually dies from this. We already have 2 fatalities for the year, 3 murders, and an incident with 3 homicides and an incident where a tourist fell and apparently hit the head and died. I think there's too much death in January, to be honest.
January.
Yeah, and it's just January, right? But I don't know what I want to address this morning. I don't know. I think you may have spoken about this already. Is where the opposition says they are going to form a People's Defense Committee in various communities, where basically the opposition leader, Prime Minister Dr. Gonsalves, is asking Sabutu Caesar to head up this committee. So they're going to go around and form these committees in the various communities where they say they're going to monitor political victimization, such as politicians using the police to harass civilians, property rights, infrastructure projects, or whatever, right? And since Dr. Gonsalves has gone into opposition, we are seeing a different type of opposition that we are accustomed to, and for some reason, people, this is annoying people. The rhetoric is he's trying to be relevant, but I don't think that Dr. Gonsalves has to try very hard to be relevant. And people have to understand that there are different ways of doing things, right? And we see the opposition like holding regular press conferences, speaking up on a lot of issues, and it's just kind of like something that people are not accustomed to, and it's creating like a lot of arguments and cursing on social media, which is kind of really strange, right? Because opposition is an opposition. Opposition is there to oppose, basically, right? And people say, "Oh, why the prime minister don't go home and rest himself? Why the former prime minister don't go home and rest himself? He wants to be relevant. Why he never formed that when he was in power? Why would you form an opposition group when you're in power? I don't know, right? So I actually think it's a good idea, but I also think that we could have had something like this when the former party was in power. It would have been good to have something like this, because a lot of the times, right, people would complain. A lot of times people complain of being victimized by the former administration. So it would have been really good to have something like this where people could go to like whoever the representative in the area is and tell them what is the problem, and they come and bring it to the public. So I welcome this move. I would really like to hear so many things that are coming out of this, because we are hearing a lot of stuff, right? And yeah, he's the opposition. The former prime minister is now the opposition, and I think that he's doing a good job in being the opposition. As he said, people thought that he would just like quit and go home because he would be too proud to be in opposition. But that's a veteran politician who has politics in him. That's what he is. He's a politician. He's a born politician. So being in opposition may be kind of hard because you've been leading for some years. But then I like the fact that the opposition has embraced their job as the opposition. So I'm looking forward to hear some of the complaints that come into these committees.
So, Lyf, this is going to be for every constituency?
Yeah, that apparently he says he's going to have Caesar lead it up. I don't know if Caesar is going to go around to the various constituencies. I don't know if they're going to have like 15 different people listening to what people have to say in the areas. But I think it's needed. And like, people have to understand, right? In politicians themselves, most of the time, politicians themselves, whether ULP or NDP politicians themselves, do not victimize people, you know. You might have one or two politicians doing something that may seem like victimization, but the politicians themselves are not who victimize people. Most of the time, it's the supporters of these politicians that come out and do things that upset people, you know. And a lot of the times too, when things are done to people, the politicians themselves don't even really know sometimes, right? And then people end up hating the politicians and hating the party because of what is done to them by the supporters that sometimes the politicians don't even know about. So I think it's important to have these groups. And so far, I haven't heard like many stories of people being victimized. There haven't been like many stories of that. There are just some normal things that have to happen that people might say it's victimization, but it's really not. It just has to happen because the government has changed. But I haven't heard many stories about that, to be honest. And one of the only incidents, several incidents that I have a problem with is when they say people going back and taking back material from people. And I didn't like the fact that the lady was detained for the assessor, the senior assessor was detained in relation to the material thing and the way the police reacted with her. I don't like that. That was that. I think that could have been avoided. But yeah, I'm not really hearing a lot of incidents about people being victimized. To be honest, which is good. But I guess as time goes along, it will happen because some people on social media are calling on people to be victimized for the simple reason that they have a job. That's it coming from. It coming from social media, coming from Facebook. The level of ignorance on Facebook is really, really crazy. You know what I mean? Because you have a job, people calling for to be victimized, calling for to lose your job simply because they assume that you're Unity Labour Party supporter, so you're not supposed to work, you're not supposed to have this job, you're supposed to change. But what people need to be very.
What about those who have their job, but who were known to be supporters, vocal and supporters of the party who were publicly out there?
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on that? No, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Just asking your thoughts.
Leacock, Major Leacock was Deputy Prime Minister Major Leacock was on radio. I think it was yesterday, right? Mm-hmm. And I think people should take the stance from what he said. He said you cannot expect to be a party in power and have every single body who work for you support you. That can't happen, right? And he also said that there are some public servants he said they're not undermining the government. He basically saying they are making things hard, not undermining. They're just making things hard. But he knows that when they eventually realize that the government is here to stay and a new government is placed, they will fall in line, right? But yeah, people have to listen very carefully. You know, if you support a party, you support a politician, listen very carefully and go back and read what Major Leacock said. You cannot reasonably expect everybody to support you, but they should not do things to make it problematic for you to run the country.
And I think people have to realize that it's not that easy to just fire somebody without proper grounds.
But he said. Yeah, but he's saying that they're not undermining the government. They're making things difficult in some situations, and that will eventually change when they realize certain things, right? He also said something that annoyed me too, not because of what he said, right? He said that this is basically people who lost their jobs under the COVID-19 mandate should go back to work. And he said he didn't say which ministry it was. He said there was an era where 3 or 4 people were trying to go back and the people were making it hard for them to come back, which is really strange.
I think it's the Ministry of Health.
The Ministry of Health?
I think so.
He said he's going there with them. I don't think that he should have to go there with them. If they say people should go back to their jobs, I never agreed for nobody to be fired under that COVID-19 thing in the first place. So then when he heard the minister coming and say no, Major Leacock coming and say no, the people try to go back to their work and they frustrated the people. Like, why? How is that possible? The policy of the government is that everybody who wants the job should go back before the end of this month. So if they're going back, why people trying to stop them from going back? How is that going to work for you? This had to be somebody this had to be people with some kind of serious power trip or some kind of strong supporter of the ULP who's still trying to me that's undermining. He says it's making things difficult, but why would you stop people from coming back to their jobs? If the policy of the government is people should come back to their jobs, and how can you even stop them? That's weird to me. So that's kind of annoying. Why do that? Like, that's just dumb. Because, listen, I don't know, maybe I'm not a doctor or anything, but this COVID-19 thing had me rubbed me the wrong way when people lost their jobs. I took the vaccine, and the first dose of the vaccine, it made me really sick. Like, the night when I went home, I was really sick. I don't know if anybody else had that experience who took it. Some people sick. They make some people sick. Okay, it made me really sick, and after a while, it stopped, and I was back to normal again. And then I took the second dose, and the second dose didn't do me anything. Now,
you took the third dose?
Never.
I didn't even
Never.
I was like one and done. That was it for me.
Okay. Yeah. So I had to take the second dose because I had to go back overseas. I had to leave.
Oh, okay.
Because I was working overseas at the time, and that was one of the things that if to travel you had to take it, right? But coincidentally, when I reached to the country I was in, I didn't have to take it. They were asking you if you want to take it, not forcing you to take it. You know what I mean? Yeah, because when I arrived, they was glad you have it. If you didn't have it, they didn't really care that you didn't have it. You still had to do the quarantine or whatever. and then you just go off to work as normal, which was really weird to me because like it was basically a forceful country and they weren't forcing anybody to take it. But what my point was going to be, well, the first dose made me really sick for like a couple of hours. I couldn't get out of bed, and then I was good. And then I took the second dose, it didn't do me anything. But then a couple of months after I caught COVID, and I felt worse. The vaccine made me feel worse. The first injection made me feel worse than when I actually caught COVID. Right?
But remember, they were always saying that it wasn't going to prevent you from getting it. It's just prevent you from possibly dying.
Yeah, it will lessen the impact. But did it lessen the impact? I don't know, probably. But what's your understanding? Okay, as I said, I'm not a doctor, right? What's your understanding of how a vaccine works?
You're hoping that it's going to completely prevent it.
Yeah. That's
you're hoping. But that was the thing. They never said it's going to completely prevent it. They say you could still come down with it, but the intensity or severity of it would not be as great or as significant as possibly prevent death.
I still wondering if that's true. To be honest, I still wondering if that's true. So now they have the policy that people need to go back to the jobs, and I agree with that policy. That's one policy I agree. So why are you trying to stop people from coming back to the jobs? Till the minister say he has to go with the people. That's total ignorance, right?
Go ahead.
And there is times. These are times when I feel people should get fired for them things.
That's kind of interesting to me, though, and I'm wondering if there is more to it than just somebody trying to flex their muscles in terms of being an employer or supervisor or whatever. That I don't know. You know, sometimes there are some persons who leave a job that you really and truly just don't want to have back in your employment.
Yeah.
But I don't know the circumstances, so yeah.
It's true. It's weird. Is it a position? Is it a position where the position has already been filled? But even if the position has already been filled, you better find a desk for that person to sit down there and do nothing. Because the policy is that people should get back their jobs.
Yeah,
that is the policy. Yeah, people should go back to work, and there's a cutoff date. You know what I mean? So I don't understand that part. I would really like to know exactly what is causing that, because if this
this whole thing go back to the job situation. So even under the ULP administration, they encourage persons to go back, right?
Right.
The call being made repeatedly. And at one point I said, well, the former prime minister should just stop saying it, because if somebody wanted to go back, they would go back. To me, as far as the way in which I see it, a lot of persons who want to go back, they would have done so already. And if they haven't, it's because they either don't want to be in that particular job, or they found new jobs, found a different calling or something. It's just, I don't know, it's just weird to me that to hear persons going back to the jobs under the new administration. If you wanted to go back, you would have go back.
There's some person who didn't want to go back to their work under the ULP.
Under the ULP. Yeah.
It's just weird to me. Yeah,
that's
I get that because it's under the old administration, but the job, you always had the opportunity to return.
Yeah, you always. But then this is my point exact. You made a good point, right? First of all, he couldn't stop saying it, right? And it's obvious that he couldn't stop saying it because the people still going back. And then, as Maka said, there were people who didn't want to go back under the ULP, so now they're going back under the NDP, right? But what the strange part I find, right, is that some people expect that they're going back and they're going to get all the salary they missed. That is something that can't happen.
Right. And this is why the court case has to proceed. And this is why the court case as well has to proceed. So that in the event that something like this happens, and when I say the court case, the appeal, in the event that something like this happens again, there would actually be a precedent to know how to deal with it from a government standpoint. So
but the people, if we see the people that went back as soon as the former administration said go back, there are people that went back. If a compromise is going to be made and say, boy, God, they miss a year's salary, let me pay them. I could understand, right? But then if you do that, you have to pay everybody. But The people who wait until the administration share to go back, like how you going to determine how much money to give to these different people? Because if you go back now, that means you could have gone back long time.
Mhm.
So did you deliberately wait 3 years so you could get 3 years salary to go back?
Without
4
working?
years salary without working, and then you say, boy, yeah, we're going to get with money. No, the
And
money
even-
part of this is going to be the technical part.
And even with that too, is I too might want some compensation for being forced to take it, because whether or not persons want to admit it, persons will place in a difficult position where it's either I take this vaccine or I lose my work, right?
Yeah,
If I lose
yeah.
my job, I lose everything else. So what about those persons who found themselves in a position where I didn't have a choice but to take it because I have to think about everything else?
Yes.
We commend the persons who stood up and said they're not taking it. I have no problems with that. And like Lyf and many other persons, I did not agree with having to place people in that position in the very first instance. But what
Yeah.
about those who took it with a lot of hesitancy or took it and as soon as it's go and sit down, they're grumbling. You
Well,
know, it's like,
it didn't make sense to me because listen, all right, they were speaking something about herd immunity, called herd immunity, right? So there's 10 people walking in a place, right? 9 people say they're taking it. So basically what they're saying is that would have protected the 10th person, but they still was forcing the 10th person to take the vaccine.
yeah.
You know what I mean? If two of you take a vaccine, like let me say there's a disease that you take a vaccine for to prevent the disease, and 3 of you here and 2 of you say you are going to take it, and when you are take it now, it protects you all, and I decide I am taking it. Why am I being forced to protect myself with a vaccine? Not it's not as if I catch it, they're going to give you it. Really market it, they're going to release it. Nobody's going to be affected. So why I'm still being forced to take it? Let me die. Leave me. It's my choice to die. And the COVID vaccine was not even stopping people from catching COVID.
Yeah.
So the 10 of us could take the COVID vaccine, and the 10 of us can still catch COVID, although it might not be so serious. So if I don't take the vaccine, I could still bring COVID into the group of 10. I could still catch COVID and bring it into the group of 10. And if I catch COVID and bring it in the group of 10 and I don't have the vaccine, or I have the vaccine, the impact on the group of 10 is still going to be the same. So I did not understand the reason they were forcing people to take the vaccine. To be honest, and firing people from their jobs. But I also take the people.
I just don't like putting people in a position where it's either you eat or you take this vaccine. It's either you have a roof over your head. I don't like it. I don't. You know.
Yeah. But the thing is, right? I respect the people who, from the time the government said come back, they went back. Right? I respect those people because these people have sense. They have sense. They went back to the job and carry out their life as normal. But there are people who turn it into something political, and now because the administration changed, they say they're going back. You know what I mean? And that's where it's complicated for the other people who may have an argument that they should get some money. What is going to be the benchmark for the money that they want? You know what I mean? How far back do you go? Because if somebody came back the week when the former government said come back, and they went back the week, right? The same week or the same month or whatever, they could have an argument that, boy, I really wanted my job, you know. You see, I come back soon as I could get back my job. I really wanted my job. But how are you going to explain the people that were coming back this month? You know what I mean?
Lyf, quickly before we wrap things up, though, let me just read this WhatsApp for you. There's a point that missing. Going back to work was said, and to just that without benefits.
No, they said they would go back with all the benefits, not that they would go back with. They said they would go back with all the benefits, not that they would go back and get all the salary. People may be mixing up benefits and salary that missed. But they were saying that you could go back and get your benefits. You just have to start. You just have to start where you left off. They weren't blocking the benefits, whatever people take the benefits was. First of all, they can't take with the NIS part. Because the NIS part was always there, even if you stop paying it or not. But there always was said that come back with your benefits. I think people think that means that you get all the salary that you miss. You know what I mean? I think the people that went back right away, soon as the announcement was made, I think they are entitled to the last salary. because that shows that these people really wanted the job. But the people who wait, like until now, I don't think they're entitled to anything. But my initial conversation was on the we kind of like come off the initial conversation. Right? Yeah. And the new type of opposition, it's welcoming. Let we put these things that may happen to people on the front burner and let people decide whether it's victimization or not. And the kind of supporters we have in politics is either you support the NDP and you support the ULP, and some people cannot draw a line between what is fair and what is not fair. I'm not one of those persons. I'm not one of those persons at all. If something is fair, it doesn't matter which side it comes from. It's unfair, it doesn't matter which side it comes from. Right? No matter what people may think that you support, you have to be realistic and you have to have sense and you have to be fair in your analysis, because supporting something blindly doesn't help anyone. You know what I mean? And sometimes you have to wonder about people that support things blindly.
In the back. Say that a
no, sometimes you have to wonder about people who support things blindly. Roleza, if I like you, and I see you do something stupid that I don't agree with, I'm not gonna come in public and say you do it stupid. You know what I mean? I'm gonna privately tell you you're doing something stupid, right? That's the difference. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm going to stop supporting you because you do something stupid. That's not how it works. As friends, that's not how it works. If you support somebody, they could do things wrong. Like you could call them out in public. The people you call out, the people you call out privately is the people you support and your friends. Then if you want to be a good supporter, then when your enemy do something, you call them out in public. You don't call out your friends in public, but that don't mean your friends are always right. The people you understand? You call out your enemies or the thing you don't support, you call that out in public. But your friends who you support, you pull them aside and say, listen, you do this wrong, and then I'll deal with that however all you want to deal with that. That's how it's supposed to work. Not about supporting everything blindly and a man take a stone and pelt it through your window because of your friend. You say, well, you're right to pelt the stone through your window because she was harassing him. So you're right. No, it don't work like that. You know what I mean? You can't live. You're not supposed to live your life like that. You know what I mean? So
let me just touch on the initial conversation with the formation of the People's Defense Committees. I actually don't have a problem with it, but I don't think that it should just be involving let's say those who might be facing political victimization, etc. Right? I think there should be more to it than that. And as you said or you hinted, Dr. Gonsalves is just one person. He's the only person who won his seat. So that party, the ULP, does have to find creative ways of being opposition, as in being able to actually do what an opposition is supposed to do, because he's only one person. So they do have to find creative ways to do that. What it is that I might have preferred, though, is, so while it is that Sabota is going to be or is designated as the head, I think because the ULP have to find a way to strategize for the next election. And many of us have questions regarding who is going to be coming back, right? Many of us already close X off who it is we believe not coming back. And for me, if they want to get an early footing in the constituencies, those persons who have intentions of running for the next election, maybe they should be the face or the persons going around getting that information from the constituency, so that you could at least realize that on the ground, the ULP is still present. So that is just my thoughts with regards.
Definitely makes sense. And people are also making noise over the alternative cabinet. There was always an alternative cabinet.
Had an alternative cabinet.
Yeah, there were always that. Right. They had ministers that shadowed the various agencies, and one of the most effective ones was Daniel Cummins in the Ministry of Health, who was always on the ground complaining and talking about health situations, and
Bruce
it was right. Well, I say most effective. Bruce, Bruce did that also. Cummins, and the things Cummins was say, the things Cummins used to say, it was no lie. He wasn't telling any lies. He was basically always, so they always had a shadow cabinet. So I don't understand which politics is him is the people that's been following sometimes when they come on social media talking.
I think what it is that maybe they thought that, and maybe you said it as well, that because of the licking that the ULP received, that Dr. Gonsalves was going to be silent for a little bit, right? He would have come out maybe like 6 months, 8 months later and come out with full force. But he's not easing up. That's the thing. He's not easing up from the get-go. Although it's kind of the things that he's commenting on, I keep wondering if he realizes that the NDP has only been in power for a month and a piece, right? So
well, he ease up.
So all the things that he's commented on, I'm there like, do you realize that they've only been there for a month, you know? But as I said, he keeping his foot on their neck, so yeah.
And so, well, I just say somebody side, ULP side, missing in action, right? You notice that, right? Some of them missing in action, right?
Yes, Lyf, yes.
But he not missing in action at all, and that is upsetting people. Like, but then it's opposition. You have a job. And he said that I got my salary at the end of December as an opposition leader. So if you get him and you get him paid, he get paid in December for being the opposition leader. You see, he got the salary. So what he's supposed to do? Just don't do the work. Like Major League say yesterday, whenever he was speaking on radio, I think it was yesterday, he said that he's gonna pay the corporals, acting corporals, to be paid the corporal salary from February, because you're not supposed to give a person a job and not willing to pay them for it. Which was that was kind of baffling to me, because sometimes they promote somebody, but they, instead of telling them that they're a sergeant or whatever, they say they're acting, and then when they say they're acting, they don't have to pay the full salary. But if I acted in a position, I still do the work in the position. So why I'm not being paid the salary because I'm acting? Okay, let me say they put on probation for 6 months acting. How long? You're supposed to be on probation for acting 6 months, 2 years, or whatever. I know the public service is something and be on probation for something like 2 years in some jobs. I don't know what kind of probation does last 2 years. That's just a strategy if you don't pay the right money, I feel. So yeah, you see, he got paid the opposition salary at the end of December. So he in opposition, he doing opposition work. You know what I mean?
Well, he getting his salary, so.
Yeah, again, he started doing the work, you know what I mean? He alone, the opposition leader is the only person getting paid, right? For that, right? I don't think the senators he chose will get paid as yet, because I don't think I don't know if the Governor General appointed the senators, but the Governor General appointed the opposition leader. You know what I mean? And the senators are probably appointed by the House, so, you know, but they haven't been sworn in. But yeah, you know, that's how it is. Let me see where the committees come up with, and we go determine what's victimization in a sensible manner. From that, we go determine, not the people who claiming that they get victimized. We go determine, when we hear the facts, we go determine why victimization from what is not.
Here, you're sure there'll be full disclosure on these things? That's another conversation, like we need to wrap up.
No, yeah, but I go know. I go make it my business to find out the truth.
All right, so then you will let us know, okay?
Definitely.
All right. So this has been our commentary with Lyf. We talked about a host of issues, but primarily on the formation of the People Defense Committees. All right. So there will be another segment with Lyf tomorrow morning at 7:45. Time for NSBG, it is 8:18, and our time check came to us with the compliments of New Haven Funeral Home.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life, that doesn't make it any easier. When